Good afternoon. I'm Kyle Bellikapitsky, New York State PTA Executive Director. I am thrilled to be here with one of our new strategic alliance partners, Armoured One and One Training. We're really going to focus on the training aspect of this conversation in about 10 minutes. You're going to be hearing more from Armoured One as we move forward in our partnership. But Tom, thanks for being here with us today.
You're welcome. I'm really excited to be with you and appreciate the opportunity to talk to everybody.
I know we're really excited because you know that the safety and security of our schools and our students and children and educators, there is nothing more important to PTA. We have long been advocates for school safety, social emotional learning and mental health, and sometimes that type of training that we're going to need for emergency situations. That's what we're going to talk about today. Tom, tell me what One Training is and tell me why PTAs, parents, educators, principals should be interested in this.
Absolutely. Let me go into a little bit of the history of who we are and why we do what we do. I'm a retired homicide detective and SWAT team operator out of New York. And I started this company because my wife was a school teacher at the time and now works actually for the training, which is exciting. And I also have 6 children, 25 ranging down to 10. And at the time of the Sandy Hook attack, as a police officer, I was training police departments how to respond to active shooter. And I knew at that time we actually had to do something for the people that were there. The police knew how to get there, but there was always a time delay. So that's how Armoured One got started. And Armoured One is primarily a glass security glass, security assessments and training company when it was founded. But what we did was we spun off to a not-for-profit training company called One Training. Our nation's experts is what the One stands for. And we're excited because we were able then to make it independent and run free, and putting teachers and school administrators in charge of police and military content of how to train people the right way, not to scare people, but to empower people and really save lives. That was the goal of what we've done and what we've been accomplishing.
I think that's fantastic. One thing that is always alarming is, kind of digging into the information that you have just on your webpage on One Training. We're talking about a school shooting that's occurring on average every 8 school days.
Yes.
And I think, we have been, I'll say, fortunate in New York that we haven't seen the mass casualty incidents that other states have had. We have, supported our colleagues and other PTAs across the country who have dealt with these horrible tragedies. We just recently had mass shootings in other states this past week. So let's dig in on the training. I know I am an elementary school, middle school parent myself. This stuff is scary. I'm going to be honest. When we talk about having training that our children are involved with, that our educators are involved with, we don't want to add trauma to that. So tell me how that really One Training doesn't do that. Or let's talk actually about what happens in a training. How do you actually train, I guess, school districts? Is it unique? Is it personalized? What does that look like?
Yeah, I'm very excited to share with people the way that we do it because it's so different. We are not out to first traumatize your kids, traumatize the teachers. Our goal is to empower. Really, the mission is to empower the people to know that they can live, survive, be healthy, be happy. And over all of the studies that we've done over the past 8 years, and again, our team is made up of retired FBI, Secret Service, Homeland Security, you name them, we've got the subject matter experts here to say, okay, here's the data and analytics, what to do. And what we've done with that is created a baby step training, one for school employees that's broken down by category. So it's not just teachers. Everyone says train the teachers, but there's double the amount of staff in the school other than the teachers. You've got teachers' aides, you've got office staff, you've got custodians, you've got maintenance staff. I mean, you name it, bus drivers, you've got all these employees, and it's a team effort. Everyone needs to come together, and we train the staff different than we teach our students. So we go out and we teach them a run, hide, fight program based off the FBI that's individualized for their positions at the school. All doing the same concepts of run, hide, fight, when it's appropriate, how to do it, but basically how to survive. We call it steps for survival. And we work very closely with a very thorough training that we do with them. And all of this is done online, step by step, certified. They have to get 100 on it because if my kid was in there, I don't want somebody who's getting a 60 or an 80. We've got to get people 100% certified and through the courses. So that's the exciting part. And where we've stepped up different is we also do training for the students, but we don't call it active shooter training, Kyle. I am 100% against, you being a mom, myself being a dad. I am worried about my kids when they go, not only something bad happening at the school, but more what's going to happen to their mental health if we're scaring the crap out of them. I mean, that's the bottom line.
Yeah, I agree, Tom. I think that's a big issue for parents. I'm really glad that you're reflective of that. I know as a parent yourself, and your family, you're very sensitive to that, and that's something that I think we parents and families like to hear.
Absolutely. And people assume being a retired police officer, SWAT operator, that I want to come in and shoot fake guns and scare kids and make them listen that way, but it doesn't work. Or else our colleges would be pointing guns at our students to make them remember what test is coming up, but it doesn't work, so we don't do it. What we do is we empower the kids, and we have age appropriate skits. And it's not active shooter training, it's lockdown training. It's learning how to see something and say something. It's psychological help for the older ones, that if they're feeling suicidal, they need help, their friends are, that they say something. If they're in their own homes or other people's homes and they see a gun, not to go near it, get away from it, report it to an adult as quick as possible. There's a lot in there. And then when we get into the school setting, is sometimes bad people do come to the building. And when they do, what do? We turn to the adults, we turn to the teachers, the administrators, and we look to them whether something bad is happening, like someone choking, possible heart attack of a teacher. How do we handle these emergency situations?
Oh, so I'm going to interrupt. What you said is really important. So this is more than just type of an active shooter situation training.
Mm-hmm. It's an emergency.
So we're talking about medical emergencies that may happen.
Yes, absolutely. So we work with the kids on, I think it's 12 to 15 minute long video. And again, we go age appropriate. So we do kindergarten through 5th grade. Those skits are acted out by kids that are that age and age appropriate, not talking guns and all that stuff. And then we start getting into the 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and then the high school, that's acted out by high school kids. These are age appropriate videos. It's not intended to scare, but to make them aware. The big difference, don't scare, make them aware, is what our goal is. And God forbid a lockdown happens, your school is going to know what to do. If your kids are seeing this video, that means the staff has been extensively trained, and your school really does care, because they put that training into your people, and they're preparing for it, they're vetting for it, they're making sure that that bad guy does not come into the school, is what their goal is. And if it does happen, that they're going to do everything they can to keep those kids 100% safe. That's the big difference of what we do. And then we also have a message for the parents from the training program too, as well, letting the parents know that your kids, each and every kid, that they're going to be trained, but this is kind of the training, and give them a little glimpse.
Oh, that's fantastic, because that involvement, because we really want to know what's happening.
Yes.
We want to know that our children are going through this, because they may come home and have questions.
Absolutely. And we're trying to, and I know you were a big advocate of this as well, Kyle, was stopping what we're seeing across America, which is calling out lockdowns or calling out an active shooter drill and scaring the whole entire school. Teachers, staff, students, parents. Parents are getting text messages, we're in lockdown, only to find out it's a drill. We don't want that. It does no benefit. It actually does more harm to protecting our kids and their mental health than it does actually from helping them. So that's why we've worked hand in hand, been working with the FBI, trying to create the perfect program, the gold standard for our schools. And starting with New York is where I'm the most excited, Kyle, is that you and your team have pushed for this partnership. And we are working with other states, but no one else has stepped up to the table as quick as your PTA did to say, let's do this, let's protect our kids in our schools.
And I think that's fantastic, Tom. I know we are so committed to this. I mean, it would be fantastic if across the state, every set of parents and students and educators were really, adequately trained in how to protect our students. As example, I remember when we started school, my son was a kindergarten, and we got a note home that they were going to have a lockdown drill, and they told then the kindergarten students it was because a skunk got in the building. So I appreciated that, because it was age appropriate, and the kids understood a skunk was bad, and they didn't want to get near the skunk. So I got a chuckle when you and I had a conversation about kind of the age appropriateness of this. One thing that I really found impressive is I often am concerned about school bus routes, because they are predictable. They are going at the same time every day. They are away from the school building. And that's, we've talked with SED and the school bus contractors and the, Pupil Transportation Association because I'm really worried about school safety and really, honestly, active shooter situations involving a school bus. And I'm glad that I know that you do that training too, about active emergency training and active shooter training with buses. How does that work?
Yes, the National Safety Security Protection Association, the NSSPA, actually deemed one training the best training in the nation, especially because of the bus driver and greeter training that we have. So greeters are the people vetting, like the TSA at the airport, letting people in and out of the buildings, how to do it correctly. But the bus drivers, I am with you there. Two of my kids get on a bus, two left out of the six get on a bus every school day and head off. And I have the same fears, the same anxiety that every parent has, wondering what's going on and worried about an attack on a bus. And we created an awesome program for bus drivers, not only online, but also in person, on what happens if someone approaches the bus with a gun, is on the bus with a gun. But also, Kyle, think about too, when that bus driver is pulling up to a stop and that 16-year-old boy has never worn a trench coat, never carried multiple bags, and all of a sudden looks so drastically different, like what people have pictured of the Columbine and Sandy Hook attacker. Why is the bus driver picking them up? And understanding what they can do to dynamically change that situation and protect people, instead of picking up a shooter, delivering him to a school where he's going to do a shooting. We've had these prevented by bus drivers before, but the more we train them, the more we give them situational awareness to say, this is a bad idea, we shouldn't be doing this. They're able then to protect. Or as they're stopped on a bus stop and someone's approaching with a gun, as we saw in Boulder, Colorado, just a short time ago, where someone's in a parking lot with a gun shooting at people, that bus driver needs to get away and protect our kids as fast as possible. So,
and I'm so glad, because I think that's often, I'll say, a forgotten, a critically important segment that we really have to train. And I always say, your school transportation professional is the first one that sees you in the morning, is the last one you see in the afternoon. And they often spend a significant amount of time with our children. They don't have a lot of other adult supervision on buses, unless there's aides and things like that. So I'm really glad that you covered that. Tom, what do we do now? So I know we're going to be a new landing page, which is fantastic, where we talked about one training, where we talk about how PTAs and principals and educators can get involved. We really want school districts to contact you guys. Who should they be contacting? I know you guys have all of my emails, exec director at nyspta.org. You can always call the state office, 518-452-8808. Who are they calling for you, Tom? Who are they emailing for you?
So more than likely, Christina is the one that's heading up the team for this, but they can email training@trainingone, that's spelled normal, trainingone.org.
And I want to repeat that. So it's training@trainingone.org.
Correct.
Okay.
And that will go to the team that's going to see that they're looking for a request and how it works. Pricing, we're there to help. We're on BOCES coasters all over the state.
And I want to interrupt on that. So that means, for those of you who don't know what a BOCES coaster is, it means that this training is eligible for what we call expense-based aid. So school districts can receive state aid back for the training, which is fantastic, Tom.
Yeah, and that's what I love too, is the state has found it so valuable that they're willing to help. We as a not-for-profit, and again, what I love is you're seeing my ugly mug up here, but my wife, Maria, who was a Syracuse City school teacher, high school English teacher, is now actually the president of the not-for-profit, which I love and was very unexpected from when I started the company, because I thought it would be some former SWAT operator, some former colonel in the military but I had the total wrong opinion that it needed to be teachers that are out there teaching the teachers, teaching the students, and putting the program together. The content comes from over here, but how do we translate it the right way? So Maria oversees the whole entire not-for-profit. Christina is the head for New York State PTA, Christina Lackey, in that training at trainingone.org. And why is it not onetraining.org? Because one training was taken by some workout crew, or else we would have had it, but we couldn't get it. So it is trainingone.org, and one stands for Our Nation's Experts. Okay. Our team is Our Nation's Experts, but our goal is to make your team at your school, your teachers, your staff, Our Nation's Experts as well, to help protect our kids. Because as you said, New York State has done a great job, and thank God we've had very minimal school shootings compared to other states, as we've seen.
I'll tell you, from a parent's perspective, I drive my son to school because of COVID right now. So they'd ask for parent volunteers. Every single day I drop him off, and I literally say in my head, please make sure that he is safe when he comes home to me. Those parents, I cheer up thinking about it, Parkland or others, that those kids never came home is
Mhm.
something that I know we as New York State PTA really, feel that it is literally the most important thing we need to do is make sure all of our students are safe physically, mentally, social, emotionally, really hold child safe. And a part of this is physical safety. And that's what this is about. Tom, I'm so excited about our partnership. I'm so excited about working together. We haven't really talked about training in a big way. All of our parents, all of our teachers, our educators, having those conversations with students, having parents know what's happening in school buildings, having families be involved in that process. We're thrilled to work together, Tom.
Yes. And I am too. I am look forward to finally being with the right association that is looking out for their physical well-being, their mental and their emotional well-being all at the same time. And we have those same core values as mom and dads here in our training, and wanting to do the best we can to protect your schools and your children the same as I'd protect my own.
And that's why we are so excited to work together. Training at trainingone.org. Yes.
Correct. Yep.
You're going to hear more from Tom. We're going to hear more about the Armoured One partnership as we move forward, really with every child safely. We have to make sure every child stays safe. We are the voice for children. That is what PTA is. They don't have a voice often, but that's our job. Tom, thanks so much. This is, I think, session 1. We did in about 10 minutes, which was perfect. You're going to see probably session 2, 3, and 4, New York State PTA members. If you have any questions, let me know. As your homework, we always give you homework. This is a conversation you need to have with your principal. This is a conversation principals you need to have with your school districts and your school district leaders. You have to have some sort of training for for all of your employees and all of your employees. We're not talking about just classroom teachers. Your lunch aides, your school counselors, your school related professionals, everybody needs training. It's not just about classroom teachers in a school building. It's about all of the adults that serve our children. Tom, thanks for the time.
Thank you, Kyle. I really appreciate it.
Okay, have a great day, everybody.
You too.